us. If you can hear me, please comment that you can hear me. We're trying a new audio setup.
Hello. Is there anybody out there?
So we had some comments a couple weeks back. Have you guys considered doing anything to improve your audio setup? We hadn't at the time. I got a new phone. It might have helped a little bit.
There's volume.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we've got some volume. We didn't have the best audio quality, but we now have an actual USB microphone that I can plug in and use to deliver some beautiful Yu-Gi-Oh! Sonic waves.
Hopefully.
Straight into your ears.
So TKB ASMR coming to ear bowls near you.
Hello there.
Hello. The man your man could sound like.
Ooh.
Oh, baby.
Well, having established that we do have some sound, I have a card.
Ooh, okay. Do you have a monster card?
I have a monster card.
Okay.
I'm going to have to check the stats whilst you're
do you have a monster card that is or has ever been on the Forbidden and Limited list?
Yes.
Okay. Seems topical. Is it a light and or dark monster?
No.
Oof. I'm pretty sure there's only like 17 possibilities here, so I can start just listing them off.
So, yeah, it's a monster card. It has been or is on the FNL list.
Yep.
And that it's not light or dark.
Mm-hmm. Is it currently on the TCG FNL list?
It is not currently on the TCG FNL list.
Is it water or fire?
It's not water or fire.
Is it earth?
It's not earth.
Cheeky. Is it a main deck monster?
It is a main deck monster.
Okay.
So that's 6 questions now.
Heavily implied to be a wind main deck monster that is not currently, but has in the past been on the FNL list. Okay.
Yeah, you're getting that.
Wind cards that are good.
Just guess them both, and then you'll have your answer.
Is it level 4 or lower?
It is level 4 or lower.
Okay.
Nice try, Nitro, but no. Tempest sadly not level 4 or lower.
Tempest also still on the FNL list.
Yeah, he's still there. He's not banned, but he's still there.
Yeah. The Baby Dragon is the only card that had currently come to mind, so we're figuring out ways of piecing that one out. And then there's like none of the jars were ever winged. No, I don't believe so.
None of the ones that have come back.
Yeah. Is it level 3 or lower?
It's level 3 or lower.
Is it level 3?
It's level 3.
Okay. Does it... I feel like it should be very obvious, but I just don't know. No, level 3 wind monster that has once been on the FNL list but is no longer there. Does it have an effect which activates anywhere other than on the field?
Yes.
Is that location in the graveyard?
No.
Wind monsters that activate in hand. Impossible. I mean, is it a dragon?
Yes.
Is it... Oh god, I don't know his name. Is it the baby dragon? Or does its text box reference Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms?
Yes.
Okay, I think it's probably that guy.
It's lightning. Well done.
Lightning.
Well done to Alex. You were definitely first on that one. But you kind of narrowed it down to the correct card in about 8 questions, which is probably a stream record.
Yeah.
It's not an all-time TKB record, but
I mean,
for
sometimes
these,
you just know.
yeah.
And this one, we at least had like some good guiding.
Yes,
things.
Seb doesn't get the protocol for when you know, though. Seb's just there, like, oh, I know what it is. And it's like, no, you have to, like, say now what you think it is so that when you get it later...
Yeah, then you can at least say that you got it like 7 guesses ago.
Yeah. And we've had a few of those. We've had a few ridiculously few questions. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what this card is. Even on some reasonably obscure cards.
Yeah. Like, we've known each other long enough to where we know that there's, like, 15 to 40 cards in each person's, like, these are my cards that I have liked in my history of
This is my jam.
Usually it's the first 40 cards in your cube deck, but, like...
Yeah, naturally.
So those tend to come to mind when you're picking cards for 20 questions. So they're the easy ones to find. But yeah, even the obscure stuff, sometimes you just know. Sometimes you're just in their head.
So, as you mentioned, it was a little bit topical. We've been on that trad hype. Now, of course, neither Tempest nor Lightning are strictly trad cards, but the rest of the Dragon Rulers, they know where they are.
Oh, yeah. Long may they rest.
This is, of course, because we were playing traditional format just yesterday. Mm-hmm. We had a weekend of charity events with bringing tins of food.
Yep.
Playing around.
Injuring them against each other.
Yep. We went to Cardiff on Saturday.
Yep.
We played through a constructed charity tournament there. You finished up 4-1.
4-1, yeah.
And I swept him with my 5-0.
Got him.
So I had my full stack of 10 cans at the end of the day to exchange for some OTS packs.
Yep.
And then on Sunday we played the traditional. I couldn't make the full sweep this time. Finished up 4-1.
But I took it home.
So between the two of us, we had a strong showing at the weekend's charity events.
Were accumulated.
We could go into what happened on Saturday, but no one cares what happened on Saturday.
It's constructed events. Like, I played Mech Knight Invoked and had a bunch of fun and lost to Cyber Dragon. I think Tom was the only orchestra in the room. It was one of those local scenes, which was just... It was a really good fun day, but it was no one cares about construction.
I was running back my go in second orca strategy. We've enjoyed it a lot, and I wanted to get a last hurrah in case I don't get to play it again in January.
If anything should happen.
I mean, who knows? But yeah, it was good fun. We will, in a moment, be running through what we played for the traditional tournament. We were on some fairly similar cards.
Yeah.
Alec, I think, had the more streamlined strategy. I was taking liberties to be able to play all of my fun banned cards that haven't seen the light of day in a long time for very good reasons. But I think I enjoyed it for the most part. My frustrations were mostly the decks that I was playing against.
Yep.
Across 5 rounds of traditional, where I had heavily built my deck to play against all manner of silly combos, I was paired up against one Mermail deck.
One Go Second Mermail deck.
One Altergeist deck.
Yep, trap cards in that deck. Yep.
2 True Draco decks.
Also features some trap cards, yes.
And one just stun.
Full stop.
So the main deck, Nibiru's and no materials and Droll and Lockbird. I mean the Drolls were okay.
Yeah, the impermanent. You weren't on permanents. Ugh.
But yeah, the no materials and the Nibiru's didn't get a lot of mileage when the only combo deck that I played against was Hard Go Second.
Yes. So not the finest medical, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Perhaps I should have reevaluated my choices based on the room, seeing that there was going to be a lot of trap card involved.
Yes. To be fair, at least you were maining the backer removal.
No.
Oh.
No, sorry. I did main some back row removal. We have, of course, Giant Trunade and Harpy's Feather Duster.
Not Heavy Storm, because what?
No, we were siding the Storm. We didn't want to oversaturate the deck with back row removal. Storm just didn't quite make the cut, you know?
I don't think there's any world where it's correct to main Duster and not Storm. But here we are.
It was a numbers game.
You
I
were already
wanted
at
a-
55, didn't
Yeah.
want to go to 56, you know?
Yeah. There was also some mistakes in my deck building.
Oh, no doubt.
We weren't maining any. Well, I say maining. We didn't have in our main extra deck. Of course, there's a side extra deck as well.
Many cards.
The main extra deck was lacking generic rank 4s. It turns out Lunalight should probably play at least one rank 4 that you want to make.
I have heard they are level 4 monsters and do enjoy being made into rank 4s.
Yeah. I was playing Utopia Double, but Utopia Double not actually good in a deck where you're trying to use a rank 4 to bait interaction and then Boral Sword to kill them.
Yes.
It works really well when you've got level 4 monsters that are still around at the end of your combo after you've worked through every piece of interaction. You're just... And now I summon Utopia Double, and your opponent's like, oh.
Thought I stopped you from Boral Sorting me there.
We've run out of interactions here.
Yikes.
But yeah, if you're trying to go with Lunalight and then do Orcust stuff afterwards, you can't then board back into Utopia.
Yes, not a winning
So the deck profile that I've actually got laid out in front of me has had some slight tweaks because we wanted to play a game, and we didn't want to play a game with all of our horrible mistakes from yesterday carried over.
So just some of the horrible mistakes.
Just some of the horrible mistakes have been carried over into today's deck profile, and yeah, it should function a little bit better.
Yeah.
You've gone with a slimmed down version of the same strategy.
Yeah, I was on 45 for the weekend because, you know, like, you gotta play some cards for the memes. And they were bad, so I would cut those cards and go down to like 42-ish, which, you know, is closer to where I want to be.
Yeah.
So.
What was your favourite opposition from the tournament?
So I had a particularly fun game trying to beat through Blue Eyes, where there were a lot of vanilla Blue Eyes on the field, and funnily enough, my 10-card hand after maxing was successfully able to break through the nearly indestructible Dragon of Destruction.
Okay, so you struggled.
Yes, the first Boral Sword attack did not kill the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
The second?
The second one did, and both of them did 3,000 damage, yes. Yeah, I also faced one of the stun opponent who, round 1, won the die roll, and his leading play was terraforming for Necro Valley, and we knew we were not in for a good run there.
Did you win that game?
I did not win that game, no.
Okay, but picked it up in games 2 and 3.
Yes,
That's fair enough.
Yes, and then played mostly real opponents for the rest of the event. A few going second strategies that knew what I was playing and then chose to go first when they won the die roll, but were not playing good go first decks. So had that kind of balance. But yeah, no, decks that tried to achieve good traditional things.
Yeah, okay. How did you feel about the whole event?
I mean, it was good fun. I enjoyed myself. So,
it's not what I'd want to play every week, but as a charity event, I think it just hit the spot very nicely.
Traditional is in this perfect place where no one thinks about it. Not a single person on planet Earth has a real constructed, like, a ready, practiced traditional deck. So every single person is walking into that room with just a pile of cards.
There was once a time that traditional had a little player base behind it. They existed in a deep, dark corner of Pojo forums, and they had their fun.
Yeah, and then Master Rule 4 hit. And
those times have passed.
And, like, erratas started happening, and so that's a long, distant relic of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Past. But no, especially at a local level, everyone turned up with cards that I own, plus banned cards that I own or could borrow, and kind of a lot of wheels were spun, and some people had like functioning decks, and some people, like, I know John turned up with a deck which he was convinced was just strictly worse than his constructed deck. He ran back the normal dinosaur strategy he'd been running forever, and was convinced that his traditional deck was just every change was just for the worse.
Yeah, he was saying that it had got so inconsistent that he would probably be better just playing constructed advanced. But if he really wanted to do well, he would have gone with advanced constructed and maybe added the 5 most broken forbidden cards and made no other changes.
Exactly. Yeah.
which is a kind of sad state, but I think he still had a few good fun games the other day.
Everyone at some point during that day will have done something cool.
Yeah.
So and that's what you want from the trad experience.
Yeah.
And as you say, you don't want to do it every week. You want to do it once as a flash in the pan, this is a thing to do, and then go back to the actual working world of Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think I'd be ready for it by next Christmas.
Yeah. That's about right.
If any of you guys have been able to play in a traditional format tournament, drop us a little message, check it in the comments, let us know what you played, when you played it, what you thought about it, and maybe when you'd next be happy to play a traditional event, because for most of you, I imagine it wasn't the next day. With that said, we are planning to play at least another game for you guys today, so you can see what was going on. Have you got your decks sorted?
Yes, yeah, mine's ready.
So I think perhaps if we run through your profile,
Yep.
because that gives a more reasonable expectation of what I think is a good traditional deck.
Yep, a functioning linear strategy deck.
There's no real point in doing both profiles. They are too similar. You just assume that Alex is mine, minus a few hand traps, and minus the bare minimum Orcust engine, which you will see when we get around to playing.
Yep.
But if we flip camera
Set some
over,
things up.
you can just come down onto the table here, lay it all out in front of you,
Alrighty.
and then we'll
See
be
what
ready
we
to
got.
transition into playing a game.
Yeah. And Shane, to answer your question about Nightmare, so Tom was on a Ghost second strategy. So he wanted proactive rank 4 that forced interaction from your opponent. So things like Exciton Knight or Tornado Dragon will be at the top of the list, as opposed to reactive cards like Nightmare or Medusa or something along those lines. Right, so we got a sort of minor snippet of my deck from the round 5 feature from yesterday. This is Lunalight Zoo. It is Beast Warrior Turbo the deck. The fundamental synergy is you're still going for Kaleido Chicken Tiger to do very broken things, and you use the Zoo cards as a glorified search engine for the Lunalights. So these are still your win conditions, and this is just an engine to get you here.
And that was the entirety of your Zodiac package, those two?
Yeah. It's like, you don't need many monsters. Barrage is the good card. And the extra deck cards are bonkers. Alrighty, so the Lunalight package, you really don't need the extra cards. You have so many, this deck is so full of searchers. The consistency is absurd that you don't need to run a full package of this. The only reason I'm running 2 is because if you have 1 in hand or have to banish 1 to Left Arm Offering, then you have a second 1 in deck. So that's the only reason you're on 2 of this, and you just need 2 not Kaleido Chick, not Tiger targets to have enough level 4 in the graveyard to do combos. So yeah, 1 of each of these is totally fine. And 3 Tiger is 100% mandatory because you get all 3 basically every game.
And is there anything that you would change about that Lunalight package?
Yeah, that's how I think it should just be run. The only interesting bit, so I ran the full package of Perfume and Serenade Dance. So off your painful choice, you always send 2 of this, because that just gives you... It guarantees that you have full access to the full Lunalight engine, regardless of whether you used your normal summon or not.
Now, the Lunalight spells and traps didn't make it into my deck. I was going for absolute bare minimum on the Lunalight front.
Because realistically, you are playing Orcust as your sort of main win condition of the deck.
Yeah.
You are still trying to win with Dingir Su and set up Field Spell for Dingir in your opponent's turn. And, that kind of stuff. And
I was going for using Lunalights to try and bait through every piece of interaction and then ending on 2 bodies after you've baited every piece of interaction and going from that.
Yep, and then Orcust just builds up Link Rating to get you to good stuff. My deck was actually just trying to be go first Lunalight, set up a very broken board. So these all function as extenders, as searchers, as just the best cards in your deck. There's an argument to only play 2 of this because drawing it is not the best. You need at least 2 in your deck for your painful choice package. And Serenade Dance is actually just broken, so I was happy to run it. Cool, and then the zoos. So the boy Ram and the token gesture second guy Thoroughblade. Ram is broken. So we saw yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the OCG Forbidden Unlimited list was updated. and our boy Trident got put back to 1. And people are starting to figure out that Ram Ram and Trident are a good combination, where you can Trident your own Ram Ram and then get multiple Chakanine summons off of the same Chakanine. Well, in Traditional, you can do the same thing, but with Broadbull.
Broadbull, a lot better than Chakanine.
Yes, funnily enough. So in this deck, literally normal summon Ram Ram or Barrage into Ram Ram gives you 2 bodies to link into IP Masquerena and 2 searches for Beast Warriors. So Barrage becomes a Link 2 and Tiger and Kaleido Chick without using your normal summon, which is pretty bonkers. That's, full combo, the full everything, get to very, very broken boards just off Barrage on its own, let alone the other 4 cards in your hand. So that's why we're running this. And then, Ram Ram is the one you want to normal summon, and Thoroughblade's only in the deck. If you draw Ram Ram, you can Barrage for Thoroughblade and discard this, just as free.
So I was on a very similar Zodiac package. I think I had those, but I also added in 1 Whiptail.
Yep, just Whiptail.
Coming out at the end of that tournament, I would have played 3 Ram Ram.
Yeah.
Probably no Thoroughblade. Maybe 1 Thoroughblade.
Sure, yeah.
No Whiptail, but 3 of this guy. Every time I drew this, it was so good.
Oh yeah, absolutely bonkers. Especially in your deck, because you have a lot of discard outlets. It is much easier to get this one out of hand if you do draw it.
And also with the Lunalight combo, if you start with Ram Ram, just as a normal summon, and search both Lunalight Tiger and Lunalight Kaleido Chick with your double search, you can then discard the Kaleido Chick for the effect of your Nightmare Mermaid and bring it straight back with the Tiger that you've already searched as well.
And then do silly things from there.
Yeah, it was a card that in hindsight I should have been playing more copies of.
Yeah, 100%. The free access to a discard outlet because of Nightmare Mermaid in Tom's deck makes a lot of the engines, like, you can mess around with the numbers. I didn't have nearly as much of that. I literally just have Perfume as free discard fodder, or as free discard outlets, so I kind of wanted this as the engine, but I had no idea if it's correct. That's why I ran.
Yeah.
Right, and then some more cards. Zephyros is a good supporting card, and Fairy Tale Snow is a reasonable banned card. Both are level 4, both are completely busted, and that's all I really need to say about them. And then I ran 2 Tankies. I have no idea if this is necessary, but everything you want in your deck is Beast Warrior, so like, why not? I mean, whatever. Cool, and then some banned cards. So Painful Choice. This is a pretty good card.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
So
this is, in fact, one of the 3 cards that is so powerful it was banned from our cube for being just too good.
Yeah. The card is bonkers beyond belief. It is the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the best card in Traditional. If you see this card, you win the game. Or if this card resolves, you win the game. That's just basically how it works. My standard package was 2 Perfume, Yellow, Zephyros, and Snow. So the joy of this package is it doesn't matter which card they give you, because you have the Perfume discards to get the other one to the graveyard. Yellow goes to the graveyard to search you the trap. And then from here you have full Lunalight combo. You get 2 searches and a special summon. You already have yellow in grave, so you can get green to grave. And yeah, just do dumb things from there, because it's just silly. You literally just win the game. So I was playing Painful Choice, and you'll see in a second I was playing the left arm offerings, just to search it. Because if you do see this, you just win. So yeah, that is a card I would suggest everyone play. Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed are good cards. Soul Charge is a good card. Those don't need a lot of explanation. So here's what I think the 3 mistakes in the deck were. So let's start over here. So card to save return on paper is bonkers in this deck. You special summon from the grave about 40 billion times in one turn. Between your sort of 1200 Tiger activations, your Zephyros, your Yellow, your Snow, that kind of jazz. So in an ideal world, this card is absolutely bonkers. The issue is it's not a starter, and if you get going, then you really don't need to draw many more cards. So I think this is just more win more than anything, so I probably wouldn't play this again. Last Will is a card that I sort of took out and put back in several times when I was solitaring the night before. The deck has a real issue of triggering this. Like, it's weird because this is a combo deck and you have a lot of extenders, but you typically lead all of your combos by starting to exceed stuff. So you don't actually ever send a monster from the field to the graveyard at the beginning of your combo. So it's not the freest thing in the world to actually trigger or like to get its activation requirement. And you don't actually have great targets for it. Literally, it's just Chick and Ram Ram are the only two. So the theory was that if you see one half of the engine and not the other, then this searches the other half of the engine, but actually it wasn't that great, and you can break with it quite a bit. And Foolish Burial seems great. It sends Zephyros, it sends all the Lunalight cards, it sends Snow, but again, it's not a starter, and if you get going, you really don't need these kind of extenders. Probably should have been some number of Foolish Burial goods instead of these, but
okay, so you think that just having access to the Lunalight spells and traps in this deck is so much stronger?
Oh yeah, like
okay.
Search one half of your win conditions and freely discard a card in case you have drawn, stuff you want in your graveyard is just bonkers.
Yep.
And then the last band card I played is Giant Trinade.
Last band spell.
Last band spell, yes. So you want to have at least one main deck back row removal if you're playing Left Arm Offering against the trap decks, so you can play some cards and then search for Trinade, play Trinade, and then kill them. Especially broken in this deck because Lunalight Tiger is a card that you do not need to set to keep it around when you Left Arm Offering. Also, Lunalight Tiger, not hard once per turn. So you can use this, summon a thing, get a second one on the other scale, summon back a second thing, Giant Trinade, and suddenly you've double extended. So, combo piece as well as one of the best back row removal in the game. Seems like pretty easy included in the deck. And then the rest of the deck is hand traps. So, the thing that sets apart a good traditional deck from the bad traditional decks is the hand trap lineup. It's really easy to make a traditional deck that does bonkers things. Because if you just jam banned cards into your deck, it will be a good deck. The issue is sometimes you have to go second. And, not a lot of decks are very good at doing that, especially if you don't run a reasonable hand trap lineup. So I ran a pretty reasonable hand trap lineup.
That's a solid 13 you got there?
Yeah, so 13 real hand traps and then Driver just exists. This is I was in 45 main deck, as I say, I would have preferred to be less. So it's about a third of the deck. You need to stop people doing things, because people do really good things if you let them. I wasn't on any cards to break boards once they've been resolved. None of the snatch deals or change of hearts or red keys or anything like that. So I need to stop them before they do things, and these are kind of the safest bets. Impermanence is the only question mark because it's really fair. Like, stopping one monster effect very often is not good enough in traditional, but it's impermanence. It doesn't get Cold by the Grave. It plays through Appaloosa, which is most people's good stopper for stuff like Nibiru. And Imperm Nibiru is just game against basically every deck. So, yeah, I felt like it was fine to main this, but that's...
Okay. Well, having seen that, shall we get a game on and see what happens?
Actually, should we do the side deck? The extra deck first.
Oh, yeah.
That one's important. Alrighty. So these are good cards. And for those of you that weren't playing a year and a half ago, there's a reason these are banned. And should probably stay banned. I mean,
looking at you, OCG.
This guy especially can never come back. Dryden is very good and will go back to being a meta staple. But I don't think, there's a world where it can come back in TCG. Broadbull can absolutely 100% never come back. That card's just bonkers. So the general combo here is, let me find Ram Ram. General combo is, you get Ram Ram on board, and you make Broadbull. And you get your first search. That gives you a search for Tiger. And then...
Chakanine?
You get to Chakanine.
Now, Jack-o'-lanterns text is reborn a zoo monster from your graveyard. It cannot be used as an exceed material and negate its effects. So summoning back Broadbull here would not be good because you can't do anything with it. But the joy is Ram doesn't have any of those texts. So you summon back Ram, and then you can Trident. And you can Trident destroy your own Ram. And then when Ram is destroyed in the field, you get to summon a zoo from your graveyard. And suddenly you have summoned a Broadbull that does not have its effects negated and can be used in exceed material. And Tiger Mortar, conveniently, puts a material on the Broadbull. And then the Broadbull searches the second half of your engine. So yeah, 2-link rating, and you've searched your entire engine. So obviously Barrage is the best way of doing this, to make you just normal Chick, and you have Chick plus Tiger. And if you need to special summon it, then you can, or if you need to normal summon Ram, then you can usually find a way of discarding Chick, and then Tigering back the Chick, and then doing silly things from
We
there.
can go from there.
So that's the zoo engine. You need to run all 4. There's no reason to run any more than that, but you need to run them. These are good cards. Funnily enough, still good in Trad. This is the main reason why I think Lunalights is bonkers in Trad, because everyone is going to be main decking Nibiru's.
A lot of hand traps.
Yeah, and a lot of hand traps. And this is, I think, the best constructed level deck that doesn't lose to hand traps, because a lot of the stuff you're doing is spell-based, and you don't lose to stuff like impermanence. So yeah, Nibiru has quite good. Another reason to be on level 4 monsters. Shockmaster. Many shocks were unlocked, is all I'm going to say about him. And Abyss Dweller, again, just rank 4s are just bonkers, is the short answer.
Why were you playing the Emerald, Alec?
Okay.
Tell the world.
So, I had a 14 card extra deck, and that's basic. Usually in traditional, you have like a 40 card extra deck, and you have to cut down. I was only at 14 and needed to put one in. And I've never played Lunalights before, so I assumed I'd just play like trash. So the Emerald is in here literally just to shuffle back my mistakes. So when I inevitably accidentally field lock myself, or when I get to turn 2 and my opponent's disrupted me a little, and I need to try and actually find a way of killing them or re-putting up interaction, Emerald's here to, put back zoo monsters, or to, re-put back the Boral Sword that I had to accidentally make turn 1.
He erases the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, exactly. And then Link Monsters, this is going to be to no real surprise to anybody. Boral Sword kills you, and Appaloosa stops your opponent killing you. I played Trisbana literally because we knew there were going to be a handful of backer decks. The True Dracos of the world were going to be featured. So my end board, turn 1, always ends on Masquerena, so I wanted to have an out to the trap decks, is basically it. And then 2 Nightmares are very self-explanatory.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing too fancy there, but yeah, Zeus and Azthop. Good combination. Alrighty.
Well, we're going to get a game on for you guys now. You can see how our 2 decks came together. I mentioned briefly that I was on a going second Orcust Luna Zoo deck, so there shouldn't be any need for a die roll
There's
there.
not a lot of need for die roll.
I'll just have a quick look whilst we were chatting there about your deck profile. Master Diamond asks, hey, did you like my Earth VA list from Manchester? This was a second place deck profile from the Manchester Regional over the weekend. I had a quick look. It looked pretty cool. I was impressed, and I think Daniel mentioned to us earlier that there should be some content, probably a profile from that one, heading towards the TKB channel sometime in the near future, so that's one to look out for. Am I interested in coming back to Dante? I'm always interested in coming back to Dante. We just have to wait and see what January holds.
Always in the corner of Tom's mind. Tom's discussed that a few times before. As long as Nibiru is around and a feature in people's main or side decks, it's gonna be difficult. But the deck does things.
Yeah.
See, the unfortunate part about my deck is it loses really hard to draw. So the only thing I'm trying to figure out is how to not lose to draw.
No response to the tank.
Which, typically doesn't mean starting with tanky, but here we are. I'm going to search for Chick.
And I would like you to droll and stop what you're doing.
Rude. Okay.
So we saw Alex 13 hand trap lineup. We've got more on this side of the table.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why Gamma is so good is for exactly this reason. Do not have Gamma. Alright, let's start with this and do the thing.
Yep. So even without searching, I know that the Lunalight deck, if it has the right cards in hand, is still very much capable of putting up a respectable board.
Yeah.
However, I'm assuming that you didn't get drolled yesterday, and so you haven't worked out what your line is yet.
The only time I got drolled, I did have the Gamma.
Okay.
Comboing up with Gamma is quite easy.
I can believe that. Although in many ways, it does make it a little bit harder because you will field lock yourself.
Naturally, yes.
There was a moment where I was wondering, if I had an extra deck space, should I just play the Omega so that I can get rid of those extra bodies as soon as possible?
Yeah. Right, I do have Tiger.
Okay, yeah, that's a strong place to start.
Alright, let's do that. And...
yeah.
Effect on summon.
Yes. Okay.
And effects.
Okay, so that's my hand offline, effectively, for the rest of the turn now.
Haha! Now I can use him. It. Thing.
Even with the extra summon from the Lunalight Emerald bird,
Yeah.
as a thought, still coming in as summon number 5.
So, very, very dumb cards. Right. Let's do a bit of this.
Yep.
And a bit of this.
Now, Yellow Martin, I have learned since yesterday, if it's summoned by its own effect,
It gets
banish
banished. It leaves
when
the
it leaves the field.
Huh.
Similarly, Lunalight summoned off Tiger. Can't attack. I don't think I made that mistake, though I can
definitely-
believe that I might have done.
I definitely made it on feature. I cannot remember if I did it before. I don't remember going to many battle phases. The short answer. A lot of people scooped as soon as I started doing anything.
Yeah. Often correct.
Understandably so. There. Should be fine. So it's Tiger.
Yep. I'm going to see a rank 4 coming down.
Is it the rank 4 that I want?
Fortunately, it's only a 2 material rank 4, and those aren't the scary one.
No, let's...
Oh no. It's the 3 material rank 4! Ah! Oh no, that's even worse.
Yes, we can do some amount of zoo things first.
Can you?
Yeah, I think I need to drive and target this.
Or Tiger.
What do you mean, or Tiger?
You could Trident your own Tiger for another summon.
Yeah, but realistically, I'm passing turn, and then we'll need the Tiger for next turn. Would
Okay,
be
sure.
my assumption.
You could Trident the Masquerena.
Factual. I could even link something with the Masquerena and then try that.
It wouldn't even get destroyed.
Combos.
Or is it only my effect it's protected
No
from?
idea.
Can't be destroyed via your opponent's card effect. So you could in fact link summon
Right.
anything and then destroy it.
Effective check. Target
Is
this.
not a legal act. Oh no, sorry.
It
There
is
is
a
there is a Thorblade in the grave. That makes the play much better.
Much better.
You can now even Trident your Ram.
Yes. Yes, I can. Yeah, I believe I'm on
Tiger Mortar because it's the most expendable at this point. Trident
this and this.
on the Ram
Target this.
to get yourself a 3rd material.
No effect. And draw doesn't matter. And then the shot shall be unlocked. And I believe I have nothing more interesting to do, so I will be declaring spell cards.
Okay.
And I will be pausing turn.
Draw one.
Yeah, play. The field would have been significantly more busted without the draw unlocked bird, but still a respectable set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards in my field.
Now, I do, technically speaking, have a monster card.
Okay. This is good.
It's not going to do anything when it gets normal summoned and destroyed by Dryden.
Funny that.
So, on reflection, we're going to normal summon it.
Okay. So Whiptail is the spooky one because Dryden is a good card. So I feel like I'm going to Dryden pop it.
And that concludes the cards that I can legally play.
Okay, good. I understand. Even have the loving situation where I still have Dryden on my field, so I can make Broad Bull next turn. Yeah, the last card in my hand was Left Arm Offering.
Okay. So if I hadn't been stuck under the Shockmaster there, I would have seen the last card in your hand when I play the Forceful Sentry to check for hand traps.
Understandable. I mean, also just to get rid of the last card in my hand, so Masquerade is substantially worse.
Another bonus.
A thing that came up multiple times. Getting Forceful or Confiscation for your last card in the hand. Yu-Gi-Oh! The question is, do you want to try going first or second?
So, I feel like having seen the Azathoth, I can't really risk trying to play second more than I need to. I think despite having built my deck to play second, I probably have a better chance just seeing what happens if I go first.
Yep.
So, we'll go for that.
The joy of most hand traps in traditional is that they're pretty much all good going first as well.
Okay.
Gamma loses some percentage points, but it can still protect you from Ash and Droll.
I'm going to start off with Thoroughblade.
I'll have you do that.
And I will not be activating the effect.
This is fine.
Next up,
Would shotgun the Maxi if I had the Maxi.
Broadball.
That is a good card.
Full effect.
Yep. The joy of Tom normal summoning Thoroughblade is it is not Ram Ram. Ram Ram is the one you want for the combo. Thoroughblade does not let you do nearly as good things as if it was Ram Ram.
Get a Kaleido check. Then we'll go for the Chakanine
Yep.
and summon back a
Yep.
monster.
Second body.
And a Nightmare Goblin. Before Mummy.
Yep.
And then the effect of the Mermaid lets me discard my Kaleido check.
Yep. Alas, I did not have no material in my main deck for the mermaid. For the goblin.
I was maining the no materials.
Yeah. Here we
But they
go.
weren't much good against any of the decks I played against. I'm going to go with Wheel Light Tiger.
Okay, that's a good one.
Effective Tiger.
Yes.
And effective Kaleido check.
Yep.
Send a Yellow Martin to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got another Tiger.
There's a lot of tiger. Yep.
Going to summon up the Yellow Martin. Now, I believe...
The short answer is I need to appear here.
Yeah. So I do have access to Appaloosa.
Yep.
Alec, upon seeing that I have access to Appaloosa, gets a little spooked, throws me in a barrier. Where would you like to take him?
It doesn't matter.
And it's got many stats.
Yes.
15 plus 18 attack.
Diagonals are relevant in trad for summon sorceress, I guess.
Diagonals are in fact very relevant. That is absolutely correct.
But now you can summon all your rocks.
Get my morphing jar.
John Lott willed for a maxi against me.
So I knew exactly what my play was if this didn't end up in the middle. But I'm now going to have to think a little bit about if I have a way around middle zone token.
Yeah. So there's an argument for me to Nibiru on the Nightmare Goblin, but the hope was that he would just not have enough extenders to be able to get to 4 before locking himself into darks. And that would mean that he couldn't threaten Appaloosa, which would mean I'd have full free roll to just let him do absolutely everything and then Nibiru him. But alas, it did not go that way. The only downside of the Zoo engine is it does special summon many, many times before you actually get anything relevant.
Can use my Collider Chick,
Yep.
because I would not like to draw a yellow martyr next time.
Yep.
Yesterday I was playing an Emerald Bird as my other Lunalight card, but Seb asked me to give it back to him at the end of the tournament without telling me that he wasn't going to be here today, so I don't have that.
Seb.
What is he like? Actually, don't answer that.
I'll set up the straw poll now.
Asking chat, what is Seb like? Okay, so the only way that I can use this token this turn is for
The board.
a Masquerena,
Okay, that works too.
which isn't the worst thing,
No, Masquerena is a very real Yu-Gi-Oh card.
but I'm not sure where else I can go.
Okay. Good.
I think Masquerena is likely to be involved, and then I can make a Galatea, but it looks painfully like Vanilla Orcust combo, and from what I've been told, Vanilla Orcust combo doesn't win games in trad.
You never know.
I can't get to a Summon Sorceress, sadly, which is my general go-to.
I assume you're not playing Reaperdocus.
I am not playing Reaperdocus.
No, just...
I think I need to just start doing Orcust things here.
Yep, no response.
Target whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter where we're going. Cuba. Masquerena is only plan B if Masquerena is not your plan A. Masquerena is the only card in my extra deck other than Phoenix that is able to clear up all of the Zoo cards in my extra monster zone. So, very much plan A.
Summon Galatea.
Yep.
We will use the effect of Galatea on Hub.
Yep. And you're not on any Rusty Bardiche plan, are you?
No, there was no space for any of that.
The Seb was also there yesterday, and he was playing basically a traditional version of our Dusseldorf rank up magic Orcust deck, trying to make Azfot in your opponent's turn. And I don't believe he liked the deck very much. But he was very much on the Phantom Knights and everything that came with it. One of the fun facts, in traditional, there's a much easier way to Azfot on your opponent's turn. Ptolemaeus is a card that exists, and is very easy to make. Either 2 level 4 monsters, and you play one of the extra Talonite monsters in your extra deck to attach as a material in the end phase, or just straight up summoning it as a 3 material rank 4. Both of them let you Azfot on your opponent's turn. The only downside it is light, so you can't do it particularly easily in Orca strategies.
So there is a minor consideration here for going straight to the Galatea. Doesn't leave me a guaranteed symbol engraved for your turn, which might not be a good idea.
Oh, do you put that to harp?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I only play one hop.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what my options are for going into your turn. There's a possibility that just summoning an Appaloosa and hoping that works is my best play. And I think that might be a very real answer at this point.
I assume this plan also gets rid of my 3,000 vanilla.
No, it doesn't do that.
Okay,
but
okay.
we'll be fine.
We'll
be
figure it
fine. I think I use Symbol for Galatea.
Yep.
And then I pass turn.
Okay, powerful. I will draw and not use player priority for anything.
Galatea on the Symbol.
That is fine. Cuba, we have not yet sort of formally discussed the OCG ban list, but basically the only thing that's relevant is Trident. Because there's like 17 other cards on that list, and not a single one of them matters. Semi-limits are very silly, and we don't really agree with the concept of anything being semi-limited at all, so...
There were 12 semi-limits on that OCG list, which is more than you can ever realistically have being correct.
Whoever decided that Petit Pterodon needed semi-limited...
It was only Baby Ceratosaurus, I believe.
Sure, I don't know the names of the... I don't know.
Nobody played more than 2.
John plays 1. So, yeah, there's a lot of glue sniffing somewhere in Konami HQ, but the Dryden is the very relevant one. It's a card I could see happening in TCG eventually, but Broad Bull can never come back. So long as that never happens, then we're like, okay. My hand is decent. I feel like Pot of Greed is never a bad place to start.
Okay, so in response to your Pot of Greed, I'm going to use the effect of Masquerena.
And I'm going to chain Maxi to that.
Oh.
Because Maxi is always the 6th card.
I mean, this is probably better for me than if it had been the 5th. I don't think I can respond to that.
Okay, this is good.
We're learning.
Learning. Okay, so I will draw 1 off the Maxi, and then draw 2 off the Pot of Greed. So that is 3 material Appaloosa, which cannot be destroyed by card effects.
Absolutely correct.
Beautiful. And you have just you have Harp and Nightmare Engrave.
Just Nightmare, I believe.
Well, goddamn.
The harp was shuffled back into the deck.
Understandable. Okay. Well, in that case. Alrighty, I would like to start with this card.
No response.
Activate the effect.
Still probably no response.
Are you sure? Don't think you're sure enough. Yes.
That's fine.
Brush.
Oh dear.
Yikes from me.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. And I will barrage target itself.
Still fine.
Okay, this is good. Now we get the boy.
Right, man. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
A lot of fine going on right now.
So, like, my field can be either absolutely bonkers after I battle phase past the Appaloosa. That leaves us to the Dingier, so yeah, I need 2 things to attack over, don't I? Ho ho ho. Alright. Let us start with... Goes down to 16, doesn't she? Alright, let's start with this.
Ooh. Trident. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll use the effect on this.
Well, that was unpleasant of you. Now, at this point, my options are either to negate with the Appaloosa, or send a World Wand from deck to grave. I think from sending the World Wand from deck to grave is never winning this game, so we're going to negate with the Appaloosa.
Not a winning line there. And then... Chakanine.
Yeah, Chakanine's fine.
And I'll Chakanine target Ram.
The Ram doesn't inherently seem like a problem to me, so I'll let that one go through.
Okay.
Just the body. When the Trident's already been used, at any rate.
Yeah, for sure. And Whirlpool.
Summon is fine.
I'll use the effect of Whirlpool.
I think I'll negate that one.
That one's understandable. Alright, so here I just Appaloosa. Sure.
Ooh.
You thought you were the biggest.
That's a yikes for me, dog.
Then I'm going to activate card of safe return. Confirmed.
The activation is probably fine.
And like the good news from my perspective is Tom has to use 2 monster effects to get to Symbol's Ding, because he just has Nightmare in Graveyard, and he only has 1 negation with Appaloosa. So I can guarantee to stop that. So I'm not really worried about many things anymore. So I'm going to Soul Charge.
Oh, okay.
Alright. It's probably going to involve this. And probably these. And needs another zoo monster. And we're not here to not summon 5. So, like, let's just
Okay,
do some things.
understandable.
Right, so the Dryden needs to go in at least one of the EMZs. I probably want this not in an EMZ, and we'll summon a bunch of defense edition monsters.
Okay, I'm going to activate the effect of my...
Chain Link 1.
Sure. Effect.
I will negate with Appaloosa.
And I will negate with Appaloosa.
Understand. Carry. So you need to do something silly, like send Wand or Gizmek here to give your Appaloosa another negate.
I'm going to send Symbol.
Okay. And draw my 1.
For the card
Second.
effect of Symbol, target Dingisu.
Effect of Appaloosa.
Chain to Berry.
Rude. Sure.
Nice. And Dingisu.
You have activated this.
Oh no.
You done, dude. Let's just assume you did it on this activation and the mirror did not summon, but still wipes the board. That's the correct place.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So Tom is a potato.
Yeah, naturally.
Yes, so you are now at just symbols engraved.
This is sad.
Which is a real shame, because I would have much preferred you just summon the ding and for us to be in this situation, because I just guaranteed win from there. But such is life. Right. So I will activate Lunalight Perfume, targeting my chick,
Yeah.
and drawing a card.
Powerful.
Synergy. And I'll be activating Collider Chick.
Yeah. Kind of sad. I thought I had the line all figured out. These are the problems that you face playing traditional format, is you're trying to think all about the crazy things that happen and you forget just the normal basic card interactions that you should know.
Yep, very much so. Alright, and I'll activate Perfume.
Yeah.
Let us get rid of this.
So this means that you do have access to a tiger, and with a tiger you have infinite power.
Infinite.
I'm seeing 3 more draws, at least.
Effect of Tiger.
Yeah, I have run out of ways to try and stop you.
Draw. Hand has gotten better. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
sure.
just free value. The principle.
Sending a message.
An emerald. Summon. Draw.
Yep.
And this is being used.
Yep. It's a sizable graveyard you've got there.
Get that a lot. Some over here. Because that's where I've been solitaring, so that's where I know where to put my cards. And then I will Eli Martin.
Yep. We need a little draw counter. Going on.
I think we're at 4 so far. This. And I guess this. 5. It's used. Yeah, I did use more. Shame. Unfortunately, I just drew a lot of trash in the last few draws, which makes me slightly regret my decisions, but
But at the same time.
at the same time. Yeah, I mean, we're drawing too much trash. Painful choice. Activate painful choice.
No response.
Okay. What's left in the old pile? Not realistically getting to Vicinity Dunks the natural way.
I did still have a live symbols ding that I probably should have used at some point along the way here. I don't think it matters. I feel like you already have this one.
I think we can conclusively say, at the very least, the shock will be unlocked.
Yeah.
And I will replace the many cards in my hand with many
I'm
more.
trying to think back at what happened along the way there, but I feel like possibly the first activation of this.
Sending the tiger would have been pretty good, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was still reeling in the how did I mess up the old Orcus then Nibiru that I forgot that I actually had another piece of interaction.
Yep. Because the way you were trying to do it summoned the Dingirsu as Chainlink 2 with the Nibiru. And I would have been much happier with that because all of that would have continued to happen exactly as it did.
Did you have another play in hand at the point where you activated your
Most certainly not.
Okay.
No, I was on double impermanence Nibiru. Which I assume you still don't beat, but...
I mean, I'm starting my turn with a couple tigers.
Yeah, but Nibiru. Then we get to play extra deck out the game.
Let's see. How many cards in hand did you have at that point?
I would have one in hand, which was the Nibiru, and 2 impermanents up.
Okay, because I could try and force some impermanences with Tornado Dragon.
Sure.
And then try and struggle my way into a Gumblar
Okay.
to take out the last card in your hand.
Yes.
And I do have a lot of resources.
Yes, many resources. Yeah.
But it would have been Struggle Bus for sure. So yeah, we've just seen, I think the iconic trad experience where both players just kind of mess things up a lot because you don't know what you're doing.
Yes. No one goes into a trad event with a tested and practiced deck, so everyone is going to play like trash. And basically the only people who don't are the people that are just bringing their normal constructed deck with a few banned cards.
Which is probably a fair point for what John was saying about how just playing constructed is probably the best way of building traditional, unless you've got all the time in the world to actually run it back.
Like, it can't be too far off. There was definitely a world where traditional decks looked absolutely nothing like constructed decks, but in Link era, I believe that, the best traditional strategies will very closely resemble normal advanced constructed decks.
One of my mistakes in deck building was choosing to include Blackwing Gofu. The mistake here being that Gofu is very much not the linear combo of your deck, because you can only play one, it's not searchable, so you won't be building your deck around anything that starts with Gofu. Having said that, you should never play it, because when you draw it, you'll summon it, and have 3 bodies on board, and you just won't know what to do with them.
And then you will inevitably field lock yourself, or you'll inevitably get to situations where your extra deck contains no cards that can use tokens as materials, and you'll put them in the wrong zones, and...
all of these things.
Yes.
So, if you haven't practiced traditional, don't play Gofu.
Stick to what you know. But
play a linear combo with some extenders that can help pick up in the case of hand traps.
But at the same time, don't be the Draco player. If you're playing Trad, you're doing it for fun, and no one's having fun when someone's playing Draco.
Shall we have some games with cards that we know?
Okay.
We aren't going to play Constructed, because Constructed is dead to us for the moment.
Yeah.
But I do, however, have Squirrel. And we know where we are with Squirrel.
Yeah.
So, hand you a stack.
Lots of banned cards in here.
Hand me a stack. And if you have any questions, we will be glancing over at the screen whilst we're playing this one, and we will get back to you on those.
Yep.
This is likely to be our last Bristol TKB live stream for 2019.
Yep.
I believe Daniel was saying that if we're not around next week, he will be able to put out something just as a solo stream from Dublin.
4s. Way better than 4s.
Yeah, 2 pairs, 6s and 4s.
Sure.
So yeah, you can go first.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as I mentioned a moment ago, Daniel will be putting out a solo stream from Dublin next week. He was also mentioning that we've got some new content coming up on the channel soon. He'll be uploading the VOD from his Twitch stream of Waterford Regional. He also has some content from a Yu-Gi-Oh! Community Day.
Yep, I believe he has some content pre-recorded with Simo. He also has some pre-recorded content from YCS Niagara Falls with Johnny Lee, who's certainly, if you played along as we have, a very well-known player from eras past who has sort of resurfaced recently. So that should be good fun.
And yeah, also Cian Blakey commenting on this video earlier, saying about his second place finish from Manchester WCQ with Block BA. That should be heading onto the channel also at some point soon. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up, even though we won't be bringing you our typical TKB lives over the Christmas period. Yeah, that's all fine. I'll take the 15. Nick T asks, in a Go Second deck, do you think all spot removal like Mind Control Cosmic is better than board wipes like Dark Ruler and Evenly?
Go ahead. Interesting question. It does slightly depend on what your deck is trying to achieve. If you are a Boral Sword deck, then realistically, mind controls or things that add to your board state will be better than things that take away from your opponent's board state. So, Compulse? Oh, wait, less. So there's definitely some context to what you're doing. The other dependency is what you think your meta will look like. If you expect to play against a bunch of trap decks, then things like Mind Control are just safer bets than Dark Ruler No More and like Regeki, stuff like that, because Mind Control still at least does what it says on the tin against the trap decks, still takes Altergeists, Meluseeks, and Link Kuribrohs and Multi-Fakers and stuff like that. Whereas Dark Ruler No More is a Forbidden Chalice, which is much less good. But I think in general at the moment, because most combo decks are Boral Sorting as their main Go Second plan, then I would be hedging towards Mind Controls. But I know the hero decks particularly are much more on Dark Ruler No More, just because they need to negate all the Colossuses, and their way of killing you when they're going second is just through hero stuff, and they really can't do anything with a Mind Control body. So, yeah, depends on the deck.
Yeah, Evenly is in a very strange place with Go Second decks. It only works in something like Orcust, where your Go Second is break their board and build your own, rather than the standard break their board and kill them.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Punch.
This is fine.
Sure.
I'm at 19.
You use the effect, didn't you?
No, I put the counter on.
Oh, come on now, you.
You're okay, sure.
You're not hitting my MST there.
I hadn't quite realised that you were...
I was blind spacing.
Yeah. But I did very much just put a counter on, and then you responded with MSD.
Sure.
No, you're quite reasonably assumed that I was activating the effect. I just hadn't picked up on it. Interesting. Am I happy with just trading these two?
Roger, for the current format, I think heroes are actually a very, very strong choice. I believe I've never played them. I played against them literally once, so this is all conjecture, but I believe their Orcust matchup is very good. So, if you're in the market for a very good Orcust matchup, then heroes seem like a pretty safe bet. So, whether that will still be relevant, post next FNL list, sure. Sure. Remains to be seen, but yeah, the deck for this current format is, I believe, a very good choice.
Cuba asks, would a cube based around the World Legacy cards and lore and all the related archetypes make any sense? Now, I think it would make sense.
As a thematic pile of cards, yes.
But making sense doesn't mean it makes good play.
Yes.
I think critically, when you're building a cube draft, you need to be choosing cards which are easy to pick for any player around the table. Now, a lot of the cards from some of the World Legacy archetypes might work quite well, but there are also a lot that will just be absolutely horrendous for that kind of format. So I think you'd be better off picking maybe some of the cards. I know that we really like the Mech Knights in ours, because even the slightly more obscure Mech Knights, the reds and the yellows,
Yeah.
whilst they get bonuses from being played alongside other Mech Knights,
They're still good cards.
they're good just by themselves.
They're free to summon, and they're big beaters. And they're conveniently high level for lots of synchro plays, which is definitely an underlooked thing. On that kind of topic, I was... yes, it's all fine. Back when I built a lot more collections, I was quite high on the whole lore of Kozaki, the mad scientist man featuring from cards like Self-Destruct Button, and the lore of all the Gaga Giga Gago, and all the like Charcoal and Patchy and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll banish. Yeah, sure. So I built collections on that kind of theme of the lore of certain types of cards. But yeah, I would not build it into a cube. I think just, having collection pages in your binders is totally fair, and I think a cool thing to do, but yeah, wouldn't subject other people to your to it.
Daniel Saber asks, for cubes in general, what do you think of links that are just generic beaters?
They're good. They're really good.
I think there's a little bit to be said here that the links that are generic beaters also tend to come with good arrows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be playing link monsters that are just attack points and not giving me any extra zones, but given that the likes of the Tenyi Link 4 or the Gaia Link 3 are all giving you at least one new zone to play with, perfectly fine. Absolutely dead keen on those. Attack Declaration is fine. I'm going to hope that you don't have your Lance.
I did not have my Lance. Alas, poor Yark. I knew him well.
So, at this point, I've taken 15.
I took 48. I'm taking 3 16s.
Okay. And a little bit of this.
Oh, yeah. And what's that, 500?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Good. That's pretty good. Drawing all the reborns, nothing to do with them. Yeah, I'm done. My hand did not go anywhere.
Okay, we've probably got time for just one more game, so if you can keep sending in any more questions. 3v3 YCS or EU YCS? For us, personally, it's going to be the EU YCS, largely just as a matter of cost.
Yep.
And also needing to take less time off work to be able to get there. We like to be attending as many events as possible, and having to take several extra days to go to an event in the States is much less attractive than only having to take Friday and Monday to be able to go to Amsterdam or Utrecht.
And then several £100 of travel more,
Yep.
as well as missing out on several £100 worth of ordeal of the Traveller mat. It's all,
It all stacks
it
up.
starts to become a very expensive trip out. But in isolation, 100% we would be going to a 3v3 YCS.
Yeah.
I think the community has been very public about its displeasure that our YCS was announced so much later than the 3v3 YCS, and that we do not have a 3v3 YCS, so we won't be going into that too much, but, like, yeah, we would love a European 3v3 at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. How valuable do you think Nibiru is in the current meta? Would you side it going first, just to not die, versus a deck like Orcust or Salad? If you're taking a moment to think, I'm going to say I love Nibiru right now. I have been maining it for the past many tournaments, and I think it's just great. So, yes, I absolutely love it going first. I love it going second. I think that card is fantastic at the moment. It's very much a format-dependent thing, but given that the most popular deck right now seems to be Striker Orcust, I've got a lot of time for Nibiru. This is fine.
Yep.
Perfect.
True. If you have Nibiru anywhere in your 55, it should be in your deck game 2 and 3 against Salamangrates, regardless of whether you're going first or second. That much is just a fact. They can never beat that card. If the question is sort of revolving around whether you should even play it in your 55, I think it's really good right now. It is the hand trap that I am happiest to main deck at the moment, just because the Imperms and the... Like, Ash is still great, but Imperm has felt really bad, especially against the Striker version of Orcust, just because they have so many extra ways of getting the Orcust card to the graveyard and can dig for stuff. Is that one bingo? So I'm really not that high on Impermanence anymore, and I think Nibiru is just a very safe catch-all.
Speaking of the Striker version of Orcust, Roger Richner asks, do you think Engage or Hornet drones should be hit? Now, I trust that is which one of Engage or Hornet drones do you think should be hit, not strictly do you think there should be a hit?
Yes.
3.
Yep.
And attack.
Yep.
So you take 200, and I take 500, and draw 1.
Yep. Ooh, card trooper.
What a boy.
What a boy.
Go ahead.
Whoosh.
Sam Heath asks, what are our thoughts on Geist? Oh no, we haven't quite addressed the Roger question. I think Engage needs to be hit.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
I've been saying this for many, many hits. I think trying to hit the stuff around Engage is just madness. The games where Striker decks open Engage are so polarly different from the games where they don't open Engage, that I would much prefer to see a world where Striker rarely opens Engage and 100% never engages into Engage.
Yeah, the Engage into Engage plays are just awful for the person on the other side of the table.
So-
And even as the player playing the Engages, you kind of feel dirty about it.
You know what you did.
We're looking at you, Pascal. So yeah, back to you, Sam Heath. Thoughts on Geist this format?
I think they're fine. I thought they're fine for like a year now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the best deck in the room, and I have no response. I will MS2 that.
Yep, I thought that might be there, but I was going to push for it,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, like I personally would not play them at the moment, just because I think the games that you lose are very much not in your control, and I think the Orcust deck at the moment is just too good at grinding you out. So yeah, it's kind of in a weird situation there, but it is still a deck that can very much win tournaments and top regionals and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have perhaps used the phrase grinding it out, because the Orcust deck, whilst I think it does have quite a favourable Altergeist matchup, tends to win on its first or second turn.
Sure.
It can play through a lot of things, so in terms of number of actions per turn and number of back rows that it can be, it is kind of grinding it out. But I still feel like Altergeist is favoured in any game that goes long, simply because the advantage engine that you have through resolving spoofing to push through effects and just keeping getting piece after piece is so huge.
Yeah, and Orcish definitely does struggle with multiple compulses.
Yeah.
And this is also good.
That's pretty good.
And this is also good.
That's even better. At least we both draw one. It's not enough.
Go. Trap decks are also in the slightly awkward situation where all of the Orcish decks are currently ending their first turn on IP Masquerena and have Topologic Truthbringer in their extra deck. So if you do not have a proactive strategy on your first turn going second to clear the IP Masquerena, then you can be in for a world of hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Cuba says, should all the floodgates go away?
Konami made this very clear stance, 4 or 5 years ago, that they didn't like floodgates, and basically every floodgate got limited. And then they kept printing floodgates, and have just never limited any of the new ones.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It is a bit strange. It feels a bit counterintuitive.
There's no world where Macrocosmos and D-Fissure should be limited, but there can be only one Goes in Rivalry anti-spell should be at 3.
Yeah,
I
think that is a very fair assessment. My personal take on it is that floodgates are, painfully to say this, good for the game. They offer an easy route for new players to start playing, pick up a deck that can win games against people that are better than they are, and that makes it much more enjoyable for those people. So I think having that easy access route where someone can come into the game, pick up a deck, and win some games, but not all of them, is really nice. So I don't think they should all go away. I just don't like them.
Actually, I'm going to do that as well. Cool. That is a good one. Yeah, true.
Pin your back row and attack your big guy. Go ahead. On the subject of engage, do you think there is too much draw power in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now? Allure in Thunder and Orcust is a plus, Demise in back row decks is a plus, Return in Orcust is a plus.
Desires, extravagance. Yeah.
Pluses are kind of fine in the modern game. So long as every card that you're playing has some sort of a drawback to it, and for the most part they do. Perhaps Orchestrated Return is an offender here. Doesn't really have that much of a cost to it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Konami has this stance where every archetype gets at least one search or draw spell, and they're almost always the best cards in that archetype. And Orchestrated Return is another one of the offenders of completely bonkers search and or draw spells. So, yeah, it's a little bit weird with that one. Allure, I do think, is very strange that it is still at 3. We were all kind of concerned when it went to 3, or when it started creeping up from 1.
It's done some bad things in its time.
It's done some silly things. And yeah, it continues to show just how free it can be in dark decks, and the fact that there are dark decks that plus off of it.
Yep.
Multiple dark
We've
decks.
now got to the point where we see more and more banished face down cards being printed, and that shows you just how silly banished face up has become. We're going to take those two out.
Go.
What do you think about card destruction in Orcust? There's a very simple answer. Your opponent's probably playing Orcust 2. You don't want card destruction.
Yeah.
Hit for 900. Pass to you. Daniel Saber asks, who did Book of Moon hurt? We just don't know. Book of Moon is not a card in 2019, and we have no idea why it's still on the FNL list.
Like, there was even a stint in OCG where it was a good fringe playable 2 of in main decks when it was at 2 in OCG. It just doesn't make any sense.
I know the time rule is a very sensitive topic, asks JK4856, and it's a consensus that it should be changed. But do you guys have possible alternatives that you would like to see?
Tomb count. I know you have one, which we'll very much agree with.
Yeah, in case you haven't heard my stance on it, I am very strongly of the opinion that you should play to the end of the following turn. As far as I'm concerned, the best thing about the previous time rules is the fact that it adds on specifically an odd number of turns, which changes the whole dynamic from pass the parcel into hot potato. Yes. You're in an advantage if time is called on your opponent's turn, which incentivizes you to end your turn.
Yep.
As it currently stands, if there aren't many minutes left on the clock, there's really no advantage to passing.
Yep. You know you're never getting back to your turn, so you want to do everything in your power to not pass turn.
So even the people that aren't trying to bend the rules or even straight up cheat by stalling will still not be incentivized to make their plays in a timely manner. And that just puts the game in a really sad place. It would be much better if, however you go about doing it, you were making it an advantage to end your turn sooner. That's, I think, the only really sensible way of changing it without making tournaments go on much longer. And I honestly believe that if we had that system, tournaments, particularly large events, would probably finish quicker simply because you don't have the same volume of judge calls as you get to time on the round, with people having, quite understandably, big disagreements because there's no really fair way to resolve the end of match at the moment. Pass turn to you. I don't know, Alec. I get the impression that you're reasonably on board with that, but do you think there are any other solutions that should be considered?
No, I'm very happy with that idea. Anything that changes the current idea of not wanting to pass turn to wanting to pass turn as quickly as possible will be a net positive for the game. And it doesn't take a lot of extra turns or a lot of extra phases to make it so that you're trying to actually get through your turn as quickly as possible. Like, let's say you get passed to your turn and there's 2 minutes on the clock. If you end in the current phase, you're going to take the full 2 minutes. That's just how it is. If there's a whole nother turn after this one, you are going to spend no longer than 1 minute and 59 seconds on your turn. You are going to play as quickly as humanly possible, probably make some misplays along the way, probably not get some value where you should, but you will go through your main phase 1, your battle phase, your main phase 2, and end phase with enough time to make sure that your opponent draws their card for turn before the time is up. Yeah. So anything that actively promotes players to play as quickly as humanly possible is just a good thing. And I think that a single turn after the current turn is the easiest way of doing that. But yeah, there are probably others we haven't thought of, but that's the simplest one or the most obvious one to us. Did you whirl it? Okay.
I don't know what I want to get back.
Okay, I understand. Been through like
There's not a lot in here.
heavy MST.
I think it's the heavy.
Yeah, sure.
Really hoping to draw a monster card.
Understandable.
I accept. Yep.
You've been through Trooper, haven't you?
Yep, that's correct.
You've been through Witch, not Sangan.
That is also correct. What rarity reprint would you most like to see Beatrice get? That's a really good question. I would like it to get a reprint, a large amount, but I don't know which one I would most like. Take out both your monsters.
Yeah, that's good.
And pass to you. I've always been a fan of name rare cards, but I feel like
It's not going to name a reflect,
it wants a holo print.
Yeah.
New ultra rares kind of look a bit disappointing to me.
Yeah.
Maybe Secret, just to match Dante.
Yeah, I think Secret is the most... Oh, baby. I think Secret is the most obvious. I have, like, a middling amount of life points.
I feel like I'm pretty low, but we haven't really kept up with it very well.
I've definitely taken a couple beats early.
Yeah.
I assume I'm in the 3,000 ballpark.
I have to go back and watch it through to see what life points should have been.
Yeah, I think Secret is the most obvious and sensible reprint.
Platinum, no.
Next suggestion. Go.
Go.
Yeah, anything but platinum or... Oh,
Yes. Go.
it's also a good one.
Yeah.
Mirror Force?
I think it's probably the Mirror.
Yep. Go. Yeah, like... The issue with reprints, especially like in the Beatrice tier of reprints, is you need to also consider them in the context of the thing that you're putting them on top of. We've had a few egregious situations where, like, if you've ever played the rank 8 Galaxy line, then you get, like, a secret rare Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon, and then you stack it with a super full armored Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon, and then put a super on top of that. You're like, why is the first one secret here? Or like...
It would have been so cool if it had gone like super ultra secret through the stack.
That kind of thing. Or... let's do that.
Oh, yikes.
Right. Go. There was another one that was particularly bad recently that I forget. Yeah, unfortunately that one's...
Sure.
But yeah, realistically, you're putting Beatrice either on top of, like... We're not going to talk about the monsters that play Commandante. Like, just put a line through the
I don't
sand.
mind the Commandantes, it's the gold ones that get me.
Like, at least Gold Dante and Gold Beatrice go together. Like, that's fine. And if you're playing Gold BAs as well, then, like, you do you. We don't agree with it, but, like, at least there's a package, a synergy there. But, like, you can't have, like... You can't have Gold BA and then put a Commandante on it and then put a secret. It's just...
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of problems there.
Realistically, we're talking about... Secret Dantes, and for that, I feel like a Secret Beatrice is the obvious one.
Yeah, I think I can get behind that. Oh, ha ha ha! Yeah.
You've been through Short Crush, haven't you?
Pass.
You've been through Shield Crush, but not Dark Hole.
That's correct.
Still do that. Go.
So, I have misplayed this horrendously. You do now win, but I shouldn't have passed turn. I should have creature swapped last turn.
My last turn. Oh, yeah.
In the main phase too. What did you have down?
I did draw Compulsory. I had Compulsory already. So
Oh yeah, that would have
paddled.
that would have been uncomfortable. Anyway, thank you to everyone that's tuned in. That's going to be TK Bristol signing out for 2019. There will still be some more TKB content. Catch Dan's stream and lots of videos to come out. Let's just tidy up the rest of the questions that have come through already. Quickfire. Nick T asks, do you anticipate Vrain's Pack 3 with cards like Union Carrier and Needle Fiber will cause a resurgence in combo decks, or will hyper-consistent control decks like Orcust or Draco keep them out of the meta? I think it's going to be big combo.
Yeah. Like, I think the only thing that's been keeping really big combo decks out of the meta recently is just how good Sky Striker as a control strategy is. In a world where Sky Striker is no longer a deck, I don't think any of the trap decks are anywhere near the power level of Sky Strikers to where they could reliably keep down a good linear combo deck, like as we saw with Thunder, Danger stuff.
Okay, next up, Daniel Saber, have you seen the MTG test print cards, and do you think a similar concept could be used for a modern battle pack product? I don't know them.
Oh, okay, so they released a set, I think it was called like the Mystery Box or something like that.
Sure.
Where your pack was 15 random cards from the past, like basically forever in Magic. They actually reprinted basically every card in Magic, just as if it was in the original set, but with an extra little star in the corner to make it unique. And then they had a whole bunch of user-submitted test cards, so like cards that never made it into the game, but were play tested by R&D.
Okay.
And they printed official versions of those as they would have looked like by the R&D testers. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of them were very silly, and they're very beloved by a lot of players. Just a lot of very wacky ideas that could obviously never see the light of day, and many of them are very busted, but like are just cool and wacky.
I like the idea.
The idea is cool. I have absolutely no idea how much or how long the logistical process is in Konami for pre-testing, cards that they are building, that kind of stuff. Could be anywhere between 0 and a reasonable amount. So
I think there might be more issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! Licensing. I think under Magic, there's a much more centralized control of the licenses for the products and the franchise.
Yeah.
So it's much easier for them to decide that they want to do like a crossover or...
Like a lot of the Magic cards were fan-submitted ideas, that kind of stuff.
I don't think that is something that is such an easy task to achieve in Yu-Gi-Oh! So in theory would work, but in practice, I don't think we're likely to see it.
Like the idea of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Unset would be quite cool.
Yep.
But would need it would need to be done right, and I'm not convinced that that logistically would be possible.
And finally, our last question for the night from Nightcrow. I play a low rarity or mixed in gold to annoy people. This isn't a question, it just hurts my soul.
Yeah.
And with that is it for tonight and for 2019 from these little Monday night streams. We'll be seeing a little bit from Daniel. We'll be seeing some content. If you could let us know how you liked it, how was the sound quality today? We're hoping that this has helped out a little bit. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, and we will see you again in the new year.
Take it easy.